Up at Citizens Bank Park. More time for some Major League Baseball here on MLB's Virtual Network. Hello and welcome. I'm Nicholas Callis. National League Baseball between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies. Coming up next, Jake Arrieta, who's pitching for the Phillies, facing Adrian Houser of the Brewers. Take a look at the Phillies. Those are the stats since opening day of their pitching staff. Isn't too bad yet to start the season. The Phillies in the National League East are tied for first place with the Marlins and Braves with 4-3 records. The Brewers tied for first place with the Cardinals in the NL Central with 4-2 records to start the year. And this is the Phillies opening day. This is the first game being played at Citizens Bank Park, which is why there's still some celebration going on amongst fans. And here he is, Jake Arrieta. So far, those are his stats on the year. That's after one start. He got the loss in it. 3.60 ERA to start the year. And here comes Eric Sogard.
Leading off for the Brewers,
Sogard, the third baseman of the Milwaukee Brewers. Played well offensively last season and earned some interest in free agency and decided to come over to the Brewers. He will be playing third base tonight. The Brewers' lineups have been a bit mixed up, as that ball's hitting the left center field. Hazley on the run, and he'll make the catch. Adam Hazley runs down that baseball. And an explosive first out to begin the first inning. Here's the starting lineup for the Brewers. See Eric Sogard there at third base. Lorenzo Cain, who's been one of the greatest defensive outfielders in baseball over the last couple of years in center. Christian Yelich, former MVP in right. Ryan Braun, another former MVP, just a bit more aged. Justin Smoke in the number 5 spot. New signing, as is Brock Holt playing second base. Omar Narvaez, the catcher, batting 7th. And Orlando Arcia, shortstop, batting 8th. Of course, Houser in this National League game will bat 9th in this Brewers order. Here is Lorenzo Cain. 0-1 pitch to him. That's on the ground. Didi Gregorius at short. Goes to Hoskins. 2 quick outs by Jake Arrieta to start the top of the first inning. But this Brewers order now is without an important piece. Keston Hiura is on the injured list with a fractured wrist. He'll be out 1 to 2 months. Jed Jorko, also new to the Brewers, has a fractured wrist as well, so he'll be out and for anywhere in between 1 and 2 months. Corey Knebel with some elbow soreness should be back from the injured list in roughly a week. Those are some prominent players. But as of right now, Ryan Healy with the Brewers has been called up from the minor leagues. He was also a free agent signing this past offseason, but he's an infielder who will bat against left-handed pitching, and he's on the bench right now with the Brewers. So Brock Holt's playing second base right now. Sogard's at third, but in the event of a lefty on the mound, Sogard would move to second, and Healy would fill in the number 6 spot as the third baseman of the team. Brewers moving some pieces around right now because of the injuries. This team's still good enough right now to have the lead for the National League Central tied. 4 wins in 6 games played. Fouled off count still full 3-2. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two National League non-division opponents, and Arrieta His first strikeout of the day is Christian Yelich. After 1/2 inning of play, Milwaukee 0, Philadelphia coming to bat. Here's Adrian Hauser. A former reliever who's trying to get his feet wet starting. Didn't have the best of outings his first time on the mound, you see there, but was lucky enough that his offense bailed him out of getting a losing decision. Here comes Gene Segura. Leadoff hitter for this Philadelphia Phillies team, playing second base now. And takes the first pitch for a strike. The Phillies have had a lot of moving parts over the last few years. This one, the most notable one, though. Segura came on board as the shortstop for this Phillies team, but ever since the acquisition of Didi Gregorius, he's elected to move to second. Phillies former second baseman Cesar Hernandez was not picked up by the Phillies in free agency this past offseason, and he went to sign with the Indians. Cesar Hernandez, more of a contact-type hitter, but Gregorius adds some power into this Phillies lineup. Was a consistent hitter. Wasn't great, but was consistent with the Yankees in his time there from 2015 to 2019. On the ground at third base. Played by Sogard. He'll throw over to Smoke, and that's the first out of this bottom of the first inning. And now we'll take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. This team did not make playoffs last year despite all the acquisitions. Segura, Realmuto, Harper, all acquisitions last offseason. Jay Bruce, a newer addition to this team. Didi Gregorius, one of the newest additions signed this offseason. And Gregorius batting sixth in this game. Skingery, Hazley, two homegrown Phillies players, and then Arrieta, the pitcher signed a couple years ago. There's JT Realmuto, former Miami Marlin. Was traded here in the 17. Excuse me, it was the 18. No, was it? Getting my ears mixed up now. He was traded here in the 18-19 offseason. That's it. Pardon me for misspeaking. That's hitting the right field, though, and Realmuto's on board with a one-out single. But he came here in the 18-19 offseason after a trade with the Marlins, who have been continuing to rebuild in the NL East. Realmuto, one of the top catchers in the league, got himself a single there, and now the man right now in progress of being paid the highest free agent contract MLB history has ever seen. It's Bryce Harper. Has a home run this season already and 5 RBIs. Last year, his run production was up as well. Had over 100 RBIs, tallied 30-plus home runs. Batted .260, but that run production, it might not matter that average is slightly lower than he's produced before. But 35 home runs, 114 RBIs with the Phillies last season. Harper's still a feared hitter and arguably not MVP caliber from the last couple seasons, but in the lineup, he is definitely a feared hitter. There's talks of him being overrated, but I mean, 35 home runs, 114 RBIs. That's a bat you want in your lineup. 1-1 pitch. Fouled off, counts 1-2. Harper, drafted by the Washington Nationals in 2009. Made his debut with the Nats in 2012. Correct myself, he was a first-round draft pick of the Nats in 2010 and made his debut in 2012. Was in the majors ever since. Won a Most Valuable Player award in his age 22 season in 2015. Strikes out there against Hauser. And now there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. And with that strikeout, Rhys Hoskins will come up to the plate. 2 outs, runner on first. Realmuto singled with 1 out in this half inning. And Hauser checks on him. He's back safely. Rhys Hoskins last season, .226 hitter with 29 home runs and 85 RBIs.
Off the plate, ball 1.
So far this season, he has 8 hits and 28 at-bats, 3 runs batted in, and no home runs. Hit 29 home runs last season with the Phillies, 1-0 pitch. That's a strike count, even at 1. He used to play left field for the Phillies before the Phillies went out and bolstered their outfield in the 2018-19 offseason, so he's been moved to first base, where he still succeeded offensively. Jay Bruce in left, Adam Hazley in center, and Bryce Harper in right. That's the Phillies outfield. Here comes the 1-2. It's outside, and it's dropped by Navarez behind the plate. That allows Real Muto to advance to second. Scorer's decision on that one's a passed ball. And the count's 2-2 on Hoskins. Navarez looked that one in, too. That was just flat out dropped. Very bizarre. A couple of players on the injured list for the Phillies. Going back to their outfield, Andrew McCutchen is still healing from that leg injury that he suffered last year that ended his 2019 season. But he'll be back in about a week with the Phillies. And David Robertson had surgery on his arm this offseason, or had surgery on his arm toward the end of last year, and it's going to cause an entire 2020 recovery. So he won't. Robertson won't be the closer of the Phillies until 2021 rolls around. 3-2 pitch. That misses ball 4, and Adrian Hauser has now led a couple runners on base. Still 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Real Muto on second base. He singled. Rhys Hoskins just walked. Here's Jay Bruce. Breakout player with the Cincinnati Reds. Has since played for the New York Mets and the Cleveland Indians. Spent a short amount of time in Seattle as well, and was then traded over here to the Phillies and helps the outfield out while Andrew McCutchen continues to heal. Also a quality bench bat and to play designated hitter in interleague play. Ball's outside, counts 1-1. Ripped well past second base into right field. Yelich picks it up cleanly, throws directly home. Real Muto tagged out by Navarez at the plate. The Phillies fail to score in the first inning after being set up well. No runs on 2 hits for the Phillies. 2 runners left on going to the second. Still no score here at Citizens Bank Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Milwaukee to bat in the top of the second inning. And after going down 1-2-3 in the top half of the first, they'll send up 4, 5, 6 hitters in the second. Leadoff hitter Ryan Braun aboard with a single. Bruce will get it in quickly. And that's the Brewers' first base runner of this game.
The first baseman, number 12, Justin Moe.
I caught the middle of the plate, and even though Braun was early, since that was center cut, he was able to hit it right off a solid middle part of the bat and hit it hardly into left field. Switch hitter Justin Smoke batting from the left side, takes ball 1. Smoke, former Seattle Mariner and Toronto Blue Jay, signed this offseason with the Brewers. The Brewers, a team that strengthened its infield in the offseason. 1-1 on Smoke, but acquisitions such as Jed Jorko, Brock Holt, Ryan Healy, and Smoke, of course. They also got Avisail Garcia in free agency as an outfielder. Broke out with the Rays last season. He's not starting in this game, and they've seldom used him in National League play. They have him on the bench to potentially pinch hit and could be a platoon player moving forward. Most likely to play left field when Ryan Braun needs a day off, but Yelich has solidified right field, and not even that Garcia played center, but Kane's not being moved from center with how well he's been doing the last couple years. Still a 2-2 count on Justin Smoke. Ryan Braun led off this inning with a single. He's on first base. Arrieta's pitch. Got him. 2 strikeouts now for Jake Arrieta. Justin Smoke, the latest victim, and that's out number 1.
The second baseman, Brock.
Caught some of the zone. Definitely was close. Umpire's final say is strike. 1 out, and here comes Brock Holt. Longtime member of the Boston Red Sox. Was a part of their World Series champion team, not as a starter, but came in off the bench and as a defensive replacement. This is his first new team of his career. At least in the majors. 0-1 pitch. That'll get through the right side. Base hit for Brock Holt. Harper gets it and will throw it just right into the cutoff man, Segura. And a couple singles at the Brewers. A couple base runners to begin this second inning. Holt will be used mainly, too, in a versatile role. He can play every infield position, and outfield is not out of his realm of possibilities. Navarez hits it to Arrieta. To Segura covering second. Back to Hoskins. And Arrieta works out of trouble. Double play. Hit by Omar Navarez. That ends the top of the second. No runs on 2 hits for the Brewers, and 1 runner left on base. Moving to the bottom of the second. Still no score between the Brewers and Phillies. And standing in, Didi Gregorius for the Phillies. Didi Gregorius signed in free agency this offseason. Former New York Yankee, team he broke out with. Has started 2020 with 5 hits and 26 at-bats, no home runs, and 2 RBIs out of the 6th spot. And went hitless in the Phillies' last game. That pitch misses. That's ball 1. Phillies just ended a series with the New York Mets. Its Eastern Division rival. Phillies won that game 3-1. The Brewers just lost to the St. Louis Cardinals on Wednesday as well, 5-1. That was an NL Central game. These two playing each other now in a National League game that does not have direct division implications. Gregorius works a leadoff walk against Adrian Hauser. So, despite having no decisions, Hauser has an ERA north of 5 to start the year in 1 game started, and gave up a couple of hits last inning. And is already in trouble here to start the bottom of the second with a leadoff walk. There's the Philly fanatic. Right as Scott Kingery comes up to the plate. First pitch from Hauser. That's chopped foul. Counts 0-1. Scott Kingery, not naturally a third baseman, came up with the Phillies as a shortstop, but with Gregorius now at short, Segura at second, Kingery was asked to play third, and that's how he's making his living right now as the starting third baseman of the Phillies. Michael Franco, the former third baseman, signed in the offseason with the Royals. Kingery down 0-2, and he takes ball 1. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two. We'll play today, have an off day tomorrow, then Saturday and Sunday are games 2 and 3. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Adrian Hauser now has 2 strikeouts. And that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the second inning. One out. Placing Odubel Herrera, who is managing his off-the-field life right now. And Hazley, the rather strong start to 2020. Hazley is 7 for 23 with 5 RBIs so far to start the year. And grounds that one to third. Played by Sogard to Holt. Back to Smoke, but the back end not in time. Hazley beats it out. Gregorius out at second. And with 2 outs, that'll allow the number 9 spot to come up this half inning for the Phillies, and that's Jake Arrieta. Hitless this season so far. I mean, for a pitcher, he's not a terrible hitter. Still not somebody you would expect to do much consistently like you would Madison Bumgarner. There was a time when he played for the Cubs where he had a home run in a playoff game. It was a 3-run home run, too, in a division series. And if memory serves me correct, it was off Madison Bumgarner of the Giants, who was known for hitting well as a pitcher, and still is at this time, playing for the Diamondbacks. But that was a crucial home runs, and that was the year that the Cubs went on to win the World Series. And Arrieta was their ace at the time. Great rotation that included Arrieta, John Lester, back when he was a little more productive at the pitcher spot, Kyle Hendricks. They had a great staff in 2016. 2-2 pitch coming from Adrian Hauser. That's outside. Count run full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. In 2016 feels like it was just a short amount of time ago, but I mean, it's 2020 now. Sometimes I forget that. That Cubs championship was quite a while ago, as was every other championship of the last decade. Grounded to shortstop. And played well by Arcia. Throws the Smoke in time. Arrieta's out. And that concludes inning number 2. Going to the top of the 3rd inning. There's still no score between the Brewers and the Phillies. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Brewers coming to bat, sending 8-9-1 hitters to the plate. It'll be Orlando Arcia, then Adrian Hauser, then back to the top, Eric Sogard leading off.
1-0.
That's ball 1. Arcia in his career against Arrieta, 3 for 16. Count even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Arcia, 25 years of age. Signed with the Brewers in international free agency. He's from Venezuela. Made his debut with the Brewers in 2016. Been here ever since. Everyday shortstop since 2017. Stays in the count 1-2. Arcia to start this year is 4 for 20.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Has a pair of home runs, too, and 5 RBIs. 2-2 pitch. That's hit well to right field, but not well enough to be out of the grasp of Harper. 1 out.
Batting 9. The pitcher, number 37,
Adrian Hauser to come to the plate now for the Brewers in the pitcher's spot. Hauser is hitless. Again, making his 2nd start of 2020 with the Brewers. And chops that pitch foul, strike 1. The Brewers have a couple pitchers on the injured list. Eric Lauer is one of them. He just signed with the Brewers, too. But
No balls, 2 strikes.
there's something wrong with his shoulder, so he'll be out for at least another month, at most 2 months. And Corey Knebel, who is just coming off of surgery on his arm, is expected to be back with the Brewers in a little over a week. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him. Arrieta now with 3 strikeouts. That one the second out of this top of the third inning.
Third baseman, number 7, Eric Sogard.
But Knebel will come back, join Josh Hader, who is now the closer of the Brewers team. Hard throwing, nasty slider throwing, left-handed, weird motion. Hader's really shocked the baseball world since coming up with the Brewers. And Knebel was the closing pitcher of the Brewers before Hader came along, and those two have been fighting for that spot. But it's been favored more toward Hader in recent years. Eric Sogard in a 1-1 count. 0 for 1 against Arrieta. And now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs, top of the third. Arrieta's gotten a couple outs quickly to begin this top of the third inning. 1-2. That's outside. Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's inside, and Sogard extending this at bat as Lorenzo Cain on deck. Hit well and over the head of Gene Segura. That's going to roll to the wall. Sogard rounds first as Bryce Harper picks it up, throws it into Segura, and that's a 2-out double for Eric Sogard. That's the third hit of the night. Brewers through 3 innings now, and a well squared up baseball. You can see that in the show motion. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Here's Lorenzo Cain. Strike 1. Off-speed pitch over the middle of the plate. Cain entering today's game 6 for 22 with a home run and 4 RBIs. So far, 0 for 1 against Arrieta this game. Strike 2. See there, Cain entering with a 4-game hitting streak. And at bat number 2, still in the third inning. Quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. It's outside. Sogard is on second, just hit a double, and he also went down 0-2 against Arrieta. And worked back for, and then worked the count back full, got a base hit. And now Cain's discipline has him in an even count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Arrieta at a modest 43 pitches now, 2 2/3 innings into his outing. 2-2, here it comes. Chased it. Well placed by Arrieta. Gets Cain to strike out. Arrieta with 4 strikeouts in the ball game. That one ends the top of the third. No runs on a hit for the Brewers. And 1 runner left on. Going to the bottom of the third, it's Milwaukee 0 and Philadelphia 0. The Phillies have the top of the order due up. Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, and Bryce Harper all scheduled to bat. Start the bottom of the third for the Phillies. That first pitch fouled off by Segura, strike 1. Segura used to play for the Brewers early in his career. Was sent from the Brewers to the Diamondbacks, from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. Signed an extension with the Mariners that, even though he didn't play very long there, the Phillies selected to pay for part of that extension from the Mariners when he was traded over here in the 18-19 offseason. Was once a shortstop with the Phillies, now playing second base with the acquisition of Didi Gregorius. And grounds that one to Justin Smoke, 1 out.
Now batting, the catcher, JT.
Here comes JT Realmuto. 1 for 1 against Hauser. Realmuto entering play 3 for 27. Now 4 for 28.
Count 1-0.
Realmuto has yet to hit a home run or drive in a run at all in the 2020 season. Counts even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Perhaps right on cue. That's close to the foul pole. And that's a home run. Real Muto, 384 feet down the left field line. Phillies out to an early 1-run lead. Real Muto with 5 hits on the year now, 1 home run and 1 run batted in. That pitch was right over the middle of the plate. And look, he waved it fair, too. Right inside the line, and that was just over that wall in left field. Now here's Bryce Harper.
Now batting, right fielder, Bryce Harper.
0-1's the count.
Harper 0 for 1. He struck out in the first inning. This game, not that it's late in the season and has any drastic implications to this point, as Harper pops that up. Holt attempting to make a play. And he does, 2 outs. But this game affects each of these teams right now.
First baseman, number 17.
If each team wins, it's guaranteed to stay in first place in its respective division. The Marlins and Phillies are tied, and the Braves, for that matter, are tied with 4-3 records in the NL East. The Brewers and Cardinals are tied for first place in the NL Central with 4-2 records. So whoever wins today will be guaranteed to stay tied for first place. And the loser will have to hope that the other top teams lose as well. That's popped into the air, played by Smoke. And that ends the 3rd inning. But JT Realmuto, solo home run in that half inning, puts the Phillies up 1-0 going into our second third of this game. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. And while I am neither Matt Vasgersian, Mark DeRosa, or Dan Plesac, you can still enjoy baseball here. I'm Nicholas Callis. National League Baseball right now. Our other game of the day will be coming up around 7:10 Eastern Time. The Mariners and Royals playing an American League game. Christian Yelich, 4-game hitting streak entering today, 0 for 1 against Arrieta. Christian Yelich was the 2018 National League Most Valuable Player with the Brewers in his first full season with them at that. Grounds it against the shift, played by Kingery. Throws to Hoskins, keeps a foot on the bag. And that's out number 1. That's how the 4th inning begins. Pitch beat comparison brought to you by Tops. Hauser with more velocity. Arrieta has thrown some tough breaking balls. Hauser gave up a solo home run to JT Realmuto last half inning. That's how it's 1-0. And now with 1 out in the top of the 4th, here is Ryan Braun. Braun 1 for 1. He singled off Arrieta back in inning number 2. Ryan Braun 5 for 21 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs entering play. And is 2 for 2 in this game. So Braun is now 7 for 23 to start 2020. A couple of singles off Jake Arrieta in this game. And while it's still relatively early in this game, the tying run is aboard at first. There's Justin Smoke, switch hitter batting from the left side. Arrieta's first pitch. Ball 1. Smoke struck out in his first at bat. Now 6 for 20 to start 2020. It's good for a 300 average. Well out in front of that off-speed pitch. Counts even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Arrieta's 1-1 pitch. On the ground and foul down the left side. Count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ryan Braun singled. He's on first base. 1-2 pitch. Again fouled off. Count still 1-2. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two teams. Both at the top of their respective divisions, as Smoke just flailed at that pitch, and that's out number 2.
The second baseman, Rock Holt.
Talk about late. Man, the replay just enhances that more. He was well late on that pitch. Another 2 outs here is Brock Holt. Holt hit a single in his first at bat. Now bats with 2 outs and Braun on first base. Takes strike 1. The Brewers coming off a loss to division rival Cardinals, and the Phillies coming off a win yesterday against the New York Mets, a division rival of theirs. 0-1. Counts even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Holt, the former Boston Red Sox, quite a versatile infielder, and playing outfield for him is not out of the question either, but he's starting today at second base. And hits that toward third. Kingery throws over to Segura. Braun out at second. That ends the top of the 4th inning. Brewers get no runs on 1 hit and leave 1 runner on base. Going to the bottom of the 4th inning, it's Milwaukee trailing Philadelphia 1-0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Gallis. Don't forget, you can follow MLB Virtual Network either on Twitter or on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel MLB Virtual Network, or you can follow the Twitter page at Virtual MLB. You get news on the Twitter page regarding injuries, regarding standings, scores, recaps of games. You can see highlights on Twitter. You'll get news about which broadcasts are being featured on a certain day, on a certain week. Follow your favorite teams while baseball is in a hiatus. You can still watch virtually, and you can do that here on Major League Baseball's virtual network. Not covering one team, not covering one specific day, but covering all 30 teams every day throughout the season, and there are 2 broadcasts every day that you can watch to follow your team. There will be a results recap and standing updates every night, so you can still see how your favorite team's doing, even if your team's not featured on a broadcast. Jay Bruce grounds out
Now batting, the shortstop,
to Eric Sogard, who was shifted there. He's playing around shortstop, but records that out successfully, and now here's Didi Gregorius. He walked in his first plate appearance, standing in for the second time against Adrian Hauser. Hauser gave up a solo home run to JT Realmuto last inning. Only run scored to this point. Gregorius almost made it 2 runs, just slightly pulled off that pitch too much, and finds himself down in the count now, no balls and 2 strikes. Count still 0-2. Didi Gregorius made his major league debut with the Cincinnati Reds in 2012. Was later dealt to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Played there from 2013 to 2014. Was traded that offseason to the New York Yankees and played for the Yankees from 2015 to 2019. And this offseason experienced his first chance at being a free agent. Strikes out in that at bat. Now 0 for 1 is Gregorius. And with 2 outs, here's Scott Kingery. While the Brewers still have Craig Counsell as the manager of the team, the Phillies parted ways with Gabe Kapler in the offseason and signed a veteran manager in Joe Girardi, who himself is a former New York Yankee. It is rumored that Girardi had some influence on the Phillies going out and getting Gregorius.
Count is 2-1.
Gregorius quite a veteran shortstop as well. And like I talked about earlier, a productive hitter, but also a very visible presence on any team that he's on. Of course, the Yankees did not sign back Gregorius because they were committing so much money to Garrett Cole. Scott Kingery up anyhow now. 2 balls, 2 strikes on him. Adrian Hauser's 61st pitch is grounded. Left side, gets through the infield. Leaves around for a hit. Braun will get it into second. But Sogard, neither Arcia could make that play. I should say nor, excuse me. Sogard nor Arcia could make that play. But here's Adam Hazley. Strike 1 called. Adrian Hauser still pitching for the Brewers. Closing in on ending the 4th inning. But we'll have to face Adam Hazley now and has him down 0-1. Outside counts even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Adam Hazley, the center fielder of the Philadelphia Phillies. Takes strike 2. Hazley, 23 years old. And strikes out there. Adrian Hauser tallies another strikeout. That one ends the bottom of the 4th inning. No runs on 1 hit for the Phillies and 1 runner left on. Moving to the 5th inning, it's the Phillies 1 and the Brewers 0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. The 5th inning rolling around. Phillies scored a run in the 3rd inning on a JT Realmuto home run, but that's the only run production to this point. Brewers have yet to score. Phillies getting great pitching. Jake Arrieta working his way up to 60 pitches to start this 5th inning. There's Omar Narvaez coming to the plate. Narvaez, former Chicago White Sox, was dealt away from the White Sox after they elected to commit some money to Yasmani Grandal in free agency. And with James McCann being their backup, Narvaez lost his spot on the active roster. And he strikes out there against Arrieta. Arrieta with 6 strikeouts now.
Now batting. Shortstop.
And that's out number 1. Arcia coming to the plate. 25-year-old shortstop. Rounds that pitch foul. Strike 1. Jake Arrieta on the mound. Former Baltimore Oriole, Chicago Cub. Signed with the Phillies a couple years ago.
No, that's down.
Cy Young Award winner in 2015. World Series champion in 2016. Now 34 years old.
No, that's down.
Played by Segura. Throws to Hoskins. That's out number 2. Arrieta last season had an 8-8 decision with a 4.64 ERA, 110 strikeouts in 24 games started, which accumulated 135 and 2/3 innings pitched. Arrieta was a 5th-round draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles in 2007 and made his debut with the O's in 2010. Adrian Hauser fouls that first pitch off. And just something happened to Arrieta in 2015. He was quite a mediocre pitcher, arguably, from 2010 to 2014, but in 2015 had an ERA of 1.77 with the Cubs. Gets Hauser to pop out to Gregorius there. That ends the top of the 5th. No runs on no hits for the Brewers. No runners left on base. Moving to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's the Phillies 1 and the Brewers 0.
For the Phillies, the pitcher.
Phillies sending up 9-1, 2 hitters to the plate. Start the bottom of the fifth, and Arrieta, the leadoff hitter, swings at the first pitch. And Braun makes the catch.
The batter,
Oh, one pitch, one out, begins the bottom of the fifth inning. Order recycles for the Phillies. It'll come back to Gene Segura at the top. Segura 0 for 2, hasn't hit a ball in the air. Facing Adrian Hauser for the third time in this game, and Hauser gets on the board first in the at-bat, strike one. Couple of bullpen arms for the Brewers, Alex Claudio and Corbin Burns. Here comes the 0-1. Strike two, finds the zone. Despite giving up a run and throwing a significant amount of pitches, Hauser more in the zone than out of the zone in terms of pitches. And now here comes the 0-2. On the ground up the middle. Played by Holt, he'll throw over to Smoke, and that's out number two, excuse me.
Now batting.
Phillies scored one run in the third inning thanks to a JT Realmuto home run. And speaking of Realmuto, he comes to the plate. Home run and a single. And his most recent hit was a home run off Hauser. Here's Hauser's 70th pitch. That misses high, ball one. Realmuto, one of the most sought-after catchers when the Marlins put him on the training block, and the Phillies found a well-fit trade for both sides, and they made the trade. Braun makes the catch. Realmuto now without a hit after 3 at-bats, and at the end of 5 innings, it's the Phillies 1 and the Brewers 0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Phillies leading 1-0 in this National League Baseball game. Leadoff hitters due up for the Brewers. It'll be Eric Sogard, Lorenzo Cain, and then Christian Yelich. Here's Arrieta's first pitch. Well, first pitch, at least of this 6th inning. That misses, ball one. Sogard hit a single in his most recent at-bat, or he hit a double, in his most recent at-bat, but gets ahead in the count now here, 2-0. Chopped on the ground, that stays fair, played by Hoskins. Throws to Arrieta covering, Sogard's out at first, and that's one out to start the 6th inning. And that'll bring up Lorenzo Cain. And I didn't mention this very much, but taking a look at those Brewers, those alternate jerseys, and it's no secret that Nike is now the official uniform provider of Major League Baseball, but the Brewers got a fresh new, not only a logo design that's new, but their jerseys have some new looks to them as well. Bobbled by Segura, throws to Hoskins, but Cain's safe at first base. And since that was mostly credited to this bobble, Cain will not be awarded a hit. That'll go down as an error on Segura. Here's Christian Yelich. But that design for the Brewers is completely new, at least for that alternate jersey. I haven't taken a good look at their home and aways yet. On the ground up the middle, stopped at least by Gregorius. He can't make a play. Yelich reaches first, and Cain advances to second. That one scored a base hit. An extraordinary effort given there by Gregorius, but he's not able to record an out, and here comes number 4 hitter Ryan Braun, who has a couple of singles and is now 7 for 23 in 2020. It's good for a 304 average. One out. Runners at first and second. Strike one called. Arrieta got into some trouble earlier this game as well. It's mostly been smooth throughout this game, but faces a rocky road here in the 6th. His team's still up a run. And now the count even on Braun, 1 ball and 1 strike. JT Realmuto homered in the 3rd inning for the Phillies. That's been the lone run scored by either team so far. Brewers in a spot here to get on the board, though. 1-1 pitch. That's outside. Counts 2-1. Also, this is game 1 of a 3-game series between these two. Game 1 today, each team will have an off day tomorrow. Then games 2 and 3 will be played on Saturday and Sunday. 2-1 pitch. Strike 2 called. Counts even, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ryan Braun, veteran outfielder with the Brewers. Strike 3 called. A pivotal and crucial strikeout for Jake Arrieta, also his 7th.
The first baseman, number 12.
Of the game, 2 outs. And take a look at that. Will you be the judge of that one? A close pitch. But nonetheless, 2 outs. Here's Justin Smoke. 0 for 2 from the 5-hole. Rips that into right, but Bryce Harper played that well. And he makes the catch. Jake Arrieta escapes trouble in the top of the 6th. And the Brewers are still scoreless going to the bottom of the 6th inning. 1-0. Phillies lead it.
Your attention, please.
Adrian Hauser done.
Number 58.
Phillies lead this one 1-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. Alex Claudio comes out of the bullpen, and he'll pitch for the Brewers. Former Texas Rangers steps in to pitch and will face Bryce Harper digging into the box to start the bottom of the 6th. Heart of the order due up for the Phillies. Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, and Jay Bruce all scheduled to bat. So it'll be lefty, righty, lefty. And since Claudio must face 3 batters now, the matchup for those 3 batters favors Claudio. Harper lines out to Ryan Braun, who had him shifted and was playing in the gap. So it wasn't as difficult of a play as it would have been if they were playing straight up. 1 out, here's Rhys Hoskins. First pitch from Claudio to Hoskins. Here's a strike. It's 0-1. Adrian Hauser for the Brewers, however, the starter of this game he gave up 1 run through 5 innings pitched. And unless the Brewers can score to tie the game against the Phillies, Hauser is in line for the loss. And the Brewers bullpen is still Billy Corbin. The Brewers bullpen is still busy. Excuse me, Corbin Burns still throwing along with Ray Black now. Here's the 1-1. That's down low, counts 2 balls and 1 strike on Rhys Hoskins. Hoskins 0 for 1. Has a walk in this game, though, and here's the 2-1. That's swung on and missed. Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hoskins, lifetime Philly, though he's still early in his career. 27 years old coming into 2020. 2-2 pitch. That's outside, count 3-2. Hoskins competed in the Home Run Derby in 2018. He's been a feared hitter since then as well. He's been a constant power threat in the middle of this Phillies order. Strikes out there against Claudio. And now there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Here comes Jay Bruce. Bruce is 1 for 2. Facing Alex Claudio for the first time in this game, and that's a strike. Bruce also salvaged a hit in the Phillies win against the Mets yesterday. Here's the 0-1. Hit up in the air and foul. Count now 0-2 on the veteran outfielder of the Phillies. This one's primarily a right fielder, but in his older days has found himself more as a left fielder. And strikes out there against Claudio. So in his first inning out of the bullpen, Claudio gets all 3 outs without allowing a run. Got 2 strikeouts in that half inning. And through 6 full innings, the Phillies lead the Brewers 1-0. Adam Morgan and Sir Anthony Dominguez in the bullpen for the Phillies. The Brewers will have 6, 7, 8 hitters scheduled to bat this half inning. Brock Holt, Omar Narvaez, and Orlando Arcia. Jake Arrieta still on the mound now in the 7th inning, yet to give up a run. Hit well to right, Bryce Harper makes the catch. That's out number 1. Arrieta now at 80 pitches in his outing. Throwing with some efficiency, that's for sure. Phillies got their lone run on a solo home run by JT Realmuto in the 3rd inning. That's been all the scoring to this point. Both teams have threatened to score at different parts of the game. Again, other than that home run, nothing. No other runs have crossed the plate. Hit well to left. Bruce on the run. He can't get there. It hits the ground first. And Omar Narvaez is aboard at first base with a 1-out single. Didn't try to do too much with that pitch. Didn't try to pull it. Was even slightly late, but got a quality piece of the bat on the ball and was able to hit it hardly into left field. Now he's got a single. On board with 1 out, here's Orlando Arcia. Pitcher spot on deck, so Sir Craig Counsell, along with the Brewers dugout, is having the gears turn a little bit, trying to figure out who might be best to face Arrieta when the time comes, or if Arrieta's still on the mound after this at bat, but the event's still to unfold. Here's Orlando Arcia. Got a 1-1 count on him. Now he's down 1-2. 0 for 2 against Arrieta today. 25-year-old shortstop of the Brewers. Down to the count 1-2 against the veteran Arrieta. Just missed with that pitch. Counts even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Realmuto, the one behind the plate, flashing signs. And here's the 2-2. Broken bat, Arrieta. Gregorius to Hoskins. Narvaez out at second. Arcia out at first. Double play grounded into that ends the top of the 7th inning. Citizens Bank Park moving into the 7th inning stretch. It's 1-0. The home team is winning. Phillies up 1-0 against the Brewers. Alex Claudio pitching now into his 2nd inning out of the bullpen. Came in to start the 6th inning, got 3 outs and a couple strikeouts as well. But we'll face 6, 7, 8 hitters in the Phillies order to begin this half inning. Didi Gregorius, Scott Kingery, and Adam Hazley all scheduled to bat. Claudio stabs at it, gets the ball, throws to Smoke, and Gregorius on 1 pitch is out. That starts the bottom of the 7th inning. Scott Kingery will come up to the plate now for the Phillies. Facing Alex Claudio for the first time in this game. Is 1 for 2. Hit a single in the 4th inning. And that's been his entire offensive day. This matchup to favor Kingery. It's right-handed hitter facing the lefty pitcher. And that one fouled off, strike 1. Kingery kind of came into this game hot as he fouls that pitch off, but was 8 for 25 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs entering play. And is now 9 for 27, which will change following
1 ball, 2
this
strikes.
at bat. Counts 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kingery came up with the Philadelphia Phillies and made his debut with this team. Claudio, former Texas Ranger, throws the 1-2. That's up the middle. Played by Brock Holt, throws to Justin Smoke. Scott Kingery out at first, and now there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
The center fielder, Adam.
You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. This is one of our featured games on Major League Baseball's virtual network. Following this game, coming up at 7:10 Eastern Time, the Mariners and Royals will be playing each other. That game
Ball 1.
also will be its first game of a series. This game here is game 1 of a 3-game series. It will start today, an off day tomorrow, and will conclude on Saturday and Sunday. Phillies got a JT Realmuto solo home run in the 3rd inning. It's been the only run production to this point for either team. Hazley, the batter now for the Phillies. 1-1 count against Claudio. The pitcher's spot is coming up next for the Brewers, so this is most likely Claudio's last inning of work out of the bullpen. Corbin Burns and Ray Black were the last 2 throwing up for the Brewers in the bullpen. And now the count even on Hazley, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2. That's hit in the air, and that'll be foul. Count still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hazley, 23-year-old outfielder with the Phillies. Starting in his first season with the Phillies. That pitch misses, counts 3-2. He's expected to be their consistent center field option. Now that might change when McCutchen comes back. It all depends how Jay Bruce does, because McCutchen expected to come back and play left field, but McCutchen might move to center if Bruce produces and Hazley does not. But to this point, Hazley has been producing. And despite being hitless in this game, he is 7 for 25 with 5 RBIs on the season now. Chopped softly. There's Claudio to play it off the mound. Will throw to Smoke. That's in time. Hazley's out, and that ends the 7th inning. The Phillies get no runs, no hits, and leave no runners on base in that half inning. Going to the 8th, it's the Phillies 1 and the Brewers 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Avisail Garcia coming off the bench for the Brewers. He will lead off this 8th inning out of the 9 spot, and then it'll go back to the top for Eric Sogard and Lorenzo King. 9-1-2 hitters all due up for the Brewers. And Jake Arrieta is still pitching. Moving up to 90 pitches now, but the Phillies have faith in him to continue throwing in this 1-run game. Brewers yet to score. Phillies got a run on a JT Realmuto home run hit back in the 3rd inning. Other than that, it's been a well-pitched game. Arrieta, the only one who has pitched in this game with the Phillies. You see a couple of arms there. Sir Anthony Dominguez, setup man. Hector Neris, the closer. But Adrian Hauser pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 earned run. And then Alex Claudio came in, pitched the 6th and the 7th for the Brewers, and he didn't give up any runs. And the only arm for the Phillies to this point, Jake Arrieta, gets a strikeout to start the 8th inning. 8th strikeout by Jake Arrieta.
Now batting, third base.
1 out here in the top of the 8th. Top of the order coming up now. Eric Sogard will bat. 1 out, top of the 8th. Base is empty. His team down a run. And look out, ball 1. This is game 1 of a 3-game series. These two teams not division opponents, but both part of the National League. And both these teams tied for first place in their respective divisions. The Phillies are tied with the Marlins and the Braves with 4-3 records to begin the year, tied for first place in the NL East. And the Cardinals and Brewers are tied with 4-2 records in the NL Central. Hit in the air to right center field. Bryce Harper makes the catch. Runs that one down well, and that's now 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Jake Arrieta, higher strike-to-ball ratio. Two outs, top of the 8th inning. He's throwing more strikes than not. Quality start for the veteran starter. Pitch misses, ball 1. Coming up on 100 pitches now. Which might prelude that he won't come out for the 9th, but 8 scoreless innings thrown by Jake Arrieta. Bottom of the 8th, 9-1-2 coming up for the Phillies. They lead 1-0.
Your attention, please. Now,
Corbin Burns, who's pitched in 3 games out of the bullpen, comes in.
Corbin Burns.
Pitched an inning in each of those 3 games. So hasn't really been in for long. And here's Jake Arrieta's relief. Nick Williams will come off the bench, and he'll pinch hit for Jake Arrieta. So Arrieta's done. And that's a ball that misses low. Nick Williams was once the starting right fielder of the Phillies. But if you haven't heard already, Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. So Williams lost his job out there. Pops that pitch up. Omar Narvaez makes the play. Williams is out. That's how the bottom of the 8th begins.
The batter, number 2, second baseman.
Back to the top of the order, Gene Segura will come up to the plate. Segura 0 for 3. And is now 6 for 29 on the season. It's still early, too. Averages still fluctuating. Check swing, hits it in play. Justin Smoke. He missed the tag. Gene Segura reaches base on a half bunt, half swing type of hit. There's JT Realmuto. 2 for 3 and the only RBI of the game. With the home run he hit back in the 3rd. Ball 1. On the Phillies catcher, Corbin Burns. Got Nick Williams to pop out to begin this bottom of the 8th, but gave up a check swing single to Gene Segura, who's on first. That misses inside, counts 2 balls and no strikes. Brent Suter just got up in the bullpen for the Brewers. Ray Black has been up for a rather long while. That pitch misses high, counts 3-0 now. On Realmuto, Bryce Harper on deck. And as scary as Realmuto is, Harper might be that much scarier. 3-0 pitch. That finds the zone, counts 3-1. So for the Brewers, Adrian Hauser pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 earned run. Alex Claudio came out of the bullpen, pitched a scoreless 6th and a scoreless 7th. Corbin Burns now into the game for his first inning out of the pen. And here's the 3-1. Strike 2 on Realmuto. Burns, after falling down 3-0, comes back to run the count full 3-2. That's it well into left center field, and that's going to fall in front of Kane. Segura goes to third. Kane throws it in to Arcia, and making it to second is Realmuto. That's a double that puts runners at second and third now for the heart of the Phillies order. Well extended arms. Quality contact on the pitch. And earns himself a double. So Segura's on third. He's singled. And Real Muto on second, he just doubled. There's Bryce Harper. Won't be intentionally walked. The Brewers intend to pitch to him. And he rips that pitch to right field. Close to the foul pole. And that's gone! Three-run blast by Bryce Harper. And it's now 4-0 Phillies lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's Harper's second home run of the season right there. Hit a long way. 415 feet into the second deck. And gives his team some insurance.
Now pitching for Milwaukee, number 41, David Phelps.
So that's going to do it. New pitcher coming in for the Brewers. It's David Phelps, veteran right-handed pitcher. And here it's a one-out bases-loaded situation.
The first baseman,
But the Brewers are now down by 4 runs. His first assignment is Rhys Hoskins. So Corbin Burns hit with 3 earned runs in a third of an inning pitched. Gave up a single to Segura, a double to Real Muto, and then a 3-run home run to Bryce Harper.
1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
1-2 pitch. That's outside. Counts even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. First time either team has scored since the 3rd inning. But home runs tell the story to this point. That pitch misses inside. Counts 3-2. The homer by Real Muto in the 3rd inning, and then the 3-run home run by Harper this half inning has made it 4-0 in favor of the Phillies. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Hoskins. Fouled off. The at-bat continues. This is game 1 of a 3-game series between the Phillies and Brewers. Toward the middle and against the shift, and that's going to keep rolling. Hoskins will stop at first. Kane cuts that off well and gets it in quickly.
the batter, the left fielder.
Rhys Hoskins has extended his hitting streak to 7 games now, and that's the 4th straight hit by the Phillies in this half inning. Here's Jay Bruce. That's a strike. Thrown by David Phelps, 0-1. But game 1 today. Tomorrow is an off day. Then Saturday and Sunday will be games 2 and 3 of this series. 0-1 coming from Phelps. Fouled off, count 0-2. This is the first broadcasted game on MLB's virtual network. Game 2 will be later tonight around 7:10 Eastern Time. Mariners and Royals playing. A diving attempt by Ryan Braun. But he can't secure the baseball. He'll get it into Sogard at third base. But Hoskins advances to second. That's now 5 straight hits by the Phillies. And this Brewers pitching staff having a tough time getting outs in this bottom of the 8th inning. Now here's Didi Gregorius. Feyereisen now joins the Brewers bullpen. Grounded to second. Holt to Arcia. Back to Smoke. And Gregorius grounds into a double play, and that stops the Phillies' threats. But not before this 3-run home run by Bryce Harper, giving the Phillies a 4-run lead going into the 9th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Ranger Suarez will come out of the bullpen
Number 55.
for the Phillies. This is not a save situation. Hector Neris and Sir Anthony Dominguez were throwing in the Phillies bullpen, but that was before Bryce Harper's 3-run home run. So Suarez getting an opportunity to pitch and close this game out and give the Phillies a win in Game 1. That was a relatively tough task, however, facing the 3-4-5 hitters in the Brewers order: Christian Yelich, Ryan Braun, and Justin Smoak. First pitch hit in the air. Right center, Hazley calls for it, and he'll make the catch. One out here in the top of the 9th inning. Here's Jake Arrieta's scoreline. Went 8 full innings pitched, give up no earned runs on 6 hits, struck out 8. And didn't reach the century mark in pitches, but a quality start. He's in line for the win, should the Phillies hold the lead in the 9th. Ryan Braun takes ball 1, just missed.
Ball 1, no strike.
Braun 2 for 3 in this game. Most recently got out, though. 7 for 24 in 2020. That includes his at-bats from this game. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's low, counts 2-0. Deolis Guerra and Jose Alvarez, lefty and a righty, warming up in the Phillies bullpen. That's just in case Suarez can't close this game down, but he hasn't been in any danger yet. Got Yelich to fly out to center field. Now the 2-1 pitch coming to Ryan Braun. Swing and a miss. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Ball dropped by Real Muto, so he'll have to throw over to Hoskins. That completes the strikeout of Braun, and now there are 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. Justin Smoak. Final chance for the Brewers. The Brewers have 1 out to work with. First pitch from Suarez. Hits a right field. That is a fair ball and will reach the corner. Smoak will stop at first, especially with the arm by Harper. And so the Brewers extend this game a bit longer.
Now batting, second baseman, Brock.
2 outs. Brock Holt coming to the plate. He now the last opportunity for the Brewers. First pitch. On the ground, right side. Segura throws to Gregorius, covering second. Smokes out at second. And this ball game is over. The Philadelphia Phillies win Game 1 of this 3-game series. Each team will have an off day tomorrow, but will resume to finish out the weekend. But the Phillies secure their spot in first place still in the NL East, with now a 5-3 record. The Brewers Central, and we'll wait and see what the Orioles and Cardinals do. That game hasn't started yet, but the results of that game will come up later tonight, and you'll see where the Brewers stand. If the Cardinals lose, they'll remain tied for first place, but if the Cardinals win, then the Cardinals will secure first place in the NL Central after today. Very simply, starter Jake Arrieta gets the win for the Phillies, goes 8 innings pitched, gives up 6 hits, and no earned runs, struck out 8 in his effort as well. Adrian Hauser gave up 1 earned run on 4 hits, but that one of those hits was a home run by JT Realmuto that resulted in the earned run. He pitched 5 innings, gets hit with the loss. The bullpen for the Brewers gave up those 3 runs in the 8th inning. More specifically, Corbin Burns gave up a 3-run home run to Bryce Harper that followed a Gene Segura single and a JT Realmuto double. And that gave the Phillies enough insurance to set down the setup and closer pitchers and bring in Ranger Suarez, who, despite giving up a hit, closed this game out and gave the Phillies a 4-0 win. And that'll do it from Citizens Bank Park. I'm Nicholas Callis. The final score, the Philadelphia Phillies 4, the Milwaukee Brewers 0. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20.